Hello, and welcome to BattleTech Faction Briefings. Today, we are going to the Free Worlds League in order to explore the long history of the 18th Marik Militia. This is a request from Von Duber and other fans. The Marik Militia is made up of many different sub-factions, all of which have their own stories. However, the 18th and the 10th both go off to form the Marik Protectors during the Republic and Dark Age eras. I will get to the Marik Protectors once I have covered both militia units that helped form them. Even in a militia that had 40 units at its peak, the 18th is very unique due to their troubled history and the fact that they survived long enough to tell the tale. From the Star League era to the Ill Clan era, let's discuss the 18th Marik Militia. The unit has a unique emblem of a stylized red rose on a white backing. The unit emblem is painted onto the right shoulder of the mech, and on the left shoulder they have the standard Marik Militia symbol of an eagle on a red and blue banner. The colors of all Marik Militia units is Marik purple with red accents on the right and blue accents on the left. This gives them a distinct look on the battlefield, and for mech commanders, this allows one painted up Marik Militia force to function as nearly any of them, giving great versatility to the Marik Militia on the tabletop. While there is no fiction that I could find relating to this long-lived unit, the 4th Marik Protectors are referenced in hunting season. But other than that, all information comes from source books. If you want to avoid spoilers, then skip to the following time. The Marik Militia became a major part of the Free Worlds League military in 2525, when a deal was struck with the Terran hegemony for top-of-the-line equipment. The well-equipped force grew over the years, as they had become the primary force of the Free Worlds League military. The Star League Council Edict of 2650 was done to limit the size of military forces of the Great Houses. Only 19 regiments of the militia remained after this ruling. However, the edict was repealed in 2655 and the militia grew to 25 regiments. In 2765, the 18th was stationed on Talman's Mistake, a planet that had been used as an SLDF base for many years. The 18th kept the planet safe from the Magistry of Canopus during the Marik Civil War. When the First Succession War broke out in 2786, the 18th was stationed on Coal Harbor. From there, they would be sent out wherever they were needed during the war, but Coal Harbor would remain their base until the end of the war in 2821. Of note, after the First Succession War, 8 militia regiments were wiped out. Most other units were between a quarter and 2/3 of their previous strength. Of the 32 remaining militia groups, they only had a total of 13.5 regiments worth of soldiers. In 2821, the 18th was down to 31% strength and was sent to Xanthe 3 to rebuild. By the start of the Second Succession War in 2830, they were only at 66% strength. Thankfully, the planet did not face the devastation of other worlds during the war, which allowed the 18th to have a refuge when needed as they were sent out to fight alongside other weakened units. By the end of the Second Succession War, the unit was at their weakest, being only 28% effective, and stationed on Claybrook to rebuild once again. As the Third Succession War broke out 2 years later, the militia didn't see much action and served in defensive positions, keeping Claybrook out of Capellan hands. In May of 3014, Anton Marik attempted to take the position of Captain General from his older brother Janos. Anton was supported by the Capellan Confederation and Comstar, with a fair amount of popular support from the people. The 18th chose to side with Anton and had many victories early on in the war. However, their attack on New Olympia was halted by cadets from the Allison Mech Warrior Institute and Lloyd Merrick Stanley Aerospace School. The battle cost the 18th a battalion of battle mechs, and when the 21st Centauri Lancers arrived as loyalist reinforcements, the 18th retreated from New Olympia and secured Drusabakken. From there, the 18th attacked Keystone, and again it ended in a failure. This was followed by a raid on Amiris IV, where the 18th faced off with the 6th Orloff Grenadiers and the 8th Orloff Grenadiers. After the 18th was driven off, they took position on New Delos, with only a battalion remaining. They tried to provide some support, but the overwhelming skill of the Wolf's Dragoons overran all of Anton Marik's forces and were responsible for the death of Anton Marik, ending the Civil War. While the Civil War lasted only a year, the damage it did to the Free Worlds League would remain until Thomas Marik put efforts into revitalizing the Free Worlds League many years later. While many forces were punished for siding with Anton Marik after his defeat in 3015, the 18th was obviously no exception to this rule. As punishment, the leadership of the militia was removed. Much of their quality equipment was given to the Loyalist forces, and they were the lowest on the Quartermaster Corps priority listings. The unit was slow to rebuild as few soldiers wanted to be associated with a traitorous unit. Their loyalty rating and gear quality would remain low for decades after the Civil War ended. By the Fourth Succession War, they were stationed on Oliver to rebuild and earn back their reputation. Janos Marik focused on the defense of the Free Worlds League after early victories by the Lyran Commonwealth, and thus the 18th defended Oliver, which saw no action because the goal of the LCAF was to make the League a non-combatant in that war. The War of 39 had the 18th taking the world of Hall with ease. Colonel Jerome Mares took steps to make the people feel welcome into the Free Worlds League. However, a Wolf's Dragoons Black Widow Company-led counterattack on Christmas Eve nearly wiped out the unit, with most of the 3rd Battalion being captured when the Widows attacked a victory parade. The rest of the unit would go fight the Widows with 2-to-1 odds. Despite greater numbers, the 18th were no match for Natasha Kerensky. The 18th fled to Free World League territory and guarded Connacht before being transferred to Irian in order to refit. They were able to rebuild a bit faster due to Colonel Mares having family connections at Irian Battlemechs Unlimited, streamlining replacements to the unit. Despite a weak combat record, the 18th did earn back some loyalty status, but their reputation remained bad due to the incompetence of Colonel Mares and Lieutenant Colonel Keel. After they gained back some strength, they were transferred back to Connacht prior to 3050. In 3055, they were to assist in the training of Romanov's Crusaders, but after a disagreement between some of the soldiers, they got into a big brawl. While this did not weaken either unit, it wasn't great for morale. By 3059, the 18th had grown to include 2 aerospace squadrons, a battalion of light vehicle recon, and a regiment of jump infantry. While their mech regiment remained with poor tech, their armor forces had top-of-the-line gear due to their good standing with military command. In 3066, the colonel of the 18th, Jerome Mares, was put on trial for tax evasion. His XO tried to distance the unit from the trial, but this did not help the unit improve their reputation. By 3068, Romanov's Crusaders abandoned their post on Connacht. The rise of the Word of Blake Protectorate saw assaults against any bordering planets, with BattleTech forces and, on occasion, atomic attacks. The Word of Blake sent heavy raiding parties that were larger than a level 3 mech unit. The targeted planets included Connacht, which was defended by the 18th Marik Militia. Despite tough fighting, the 18th only lost 20% of their forces. The stress of the war gave the 18th a crisis of conscience. While they did want to keep their post and help the dwindling Free Worlds League, they also realized that those who did not stand in lockstep with the Word of Blake were being harshly punished. Finally, in 3076, they abandoned their posting on Connacht. They planned to go to the periphery to serve a more stable government. However, on Umka, they received an offer from the local government to feed and house the militia force if they could protect the planet from pirate raids and attacks by the Marian hegemony. Not too long after that, the planets of Eleusis and Asperpurgos made similar offers. The 18th decided to stay on the border and protect those worlds. As of 3079, they had at least 1 mech battalion on each world. However, the events of the Jihad and the fall of the Free Worlds League were devastating to morale, and it would cause the soldiers of the unit to cynically approach new offers from any other planetary governments. Despite morale issues, The defense of the various worlds continued until 3085, when the 18th joined up with the 10th Marik Militia and other forces to formally create the Marik Protectors. They would serve as the 4th Regiment. In 3145, they were stationed on Elektrogli, where they were contacted by Nicole Marik to assist in battles against the Regulan fiefs. They accepted the contract and took Zhuk, using aircraft and artillery. This was due to their unmatched aerofighter skills. The aerofighters of the 4th Protectors were so good they could defend some planets without any of the 4th Protector mechs seeing battle. After assisting the Free Worlds League in battling their invading neighbors, the 4th Protectors were given the opportunity to return to the Free Worlds League military. As the Marik Militia had been wiped out during the Jihad and Dark Age, the return of the 4th Protectors marked the beginning of the rebirth of the Marik Militia. Upon their return, they took back their title of 18th Marik Militia, and Nicole Marik announced an intention to rebuild the militia forces. The 18th Marik Militia has been around since before the Succession Wars, and has made their way to the Il Clan era, but their road was not an easy one. They took many losses over the centuries, but kept coming back. Their persistence is one of the traits that makes this unit so admirable. It is very likely they will continue to play an important role in the Free Worlds League. Now, if only we could get some fiction about the unit. While there have been ups and downs, the 18th Marik Militia has had some interesting members over the years. Isadora Alvarez, the commander of the 18th after the Marik Civil War. She would be given the arduous task of rebuilding the unit. She likely used an out-of-date medium command mech. Jerome Mers, perhaps the worst commander of the 18th, who took over prior to the War of 39. He had some shady dealings, and likely earned his position through corrupt means. His battle with Natasha Kerensky on Hall introduced the military to clan-style warfare. He would lose his command when he was arrested for tax evasion in the 3060s. Julie Kiel, Mers Exo and the granddaughter of Marshal Albrecht Kiel. She was promoted to the commander of the 18th in 3066. As XO and CO, she tried to hold the unit together despite bad management and poor training. Hully Fraser, the former commander of the 18th Marik Militia and commander of the 4th Marik Protectors in 3085. She took a mixed group of veterans and green soldiers and turned them into an effective military force. She piloted a medium command mech. Garrett Watkins, the commander of the 4th Marik Protectors, who led the team back to the Free Worlds League in 3152. His mech is unknown, but probably a top-of-the-line medium commander mech. Joan Raymond, the aerospace commander of the 4th Protectors in the late Dark Age. Her skills at leading the aerial forces of the 4th pushed the unit to have a more aerospace fighter-based strategy. She likely used an advanced heavy Omni fighter. From the days of the Star League until their shift into the Marik Protectors, the 18th Marik Militia was a medium mech unit. While they may have fielded the occasional heavy, the vast majority of their mechs were either light or medium. They were a quick strike team, which is why heavy forces could outlast them in prolonged campaigns. Their tech level varies, beginning with quality gear, but declining due to siding with Anton Marik during the Civil War, and then being out near the periphery during the Dark Age. However, having an advanced armor and skilled heavy aero fighters helped make up for the power gap they would face in many battles. There is no fiction focused on the 18th Marik Militia that I could find. However, they are referenced in hunting season. Beyond that, there are plenty of source books with information about the unit or the Marik Militia as a whole. When I started this video, I expected the 18th to be a heroic unit, but as I explored their history, I was surprised that they had so many failures. However, unlike the vast majority of the Marik Militia, they survived the Jihad and Dark Age. More than that, they became the basis of the new Marik Militia. For anyone who loves the Free Worlds League, then obviously I recommend painting up a set of Marik Militia battle mechs. They look good on the tabletop and represent the primary military force of the FWLM. Catalyst has announced that they will be doing force packs based on the Great Houses, but they have not announced the mechs for the set as of the recording of this video. If anyone at Catalyst is watching, then here are my suggestions, alongside cards for Jerome Mayers and Garrett Watkins. As for the Marik Protectors, I will be covering them very soon. But first, I will be looking at the 10th Marik Militia, the other half that formed up the Protectors. That's right, we are going to be spending some time in the Free Worlds League before getting back to our usual mercenary life. If you have a house military unit you'd like me to discuss, please let me know in the comments below, because I'm always adding new units to my queue. A big thank you to all the new subscribers. You make these videos worth the effort. May your weapons be hot and your reactors stay cool. Thank you for watching, and until next time, I'll see you at the tavern.